We are going to work more with transformations and over this transformation formula last time. This is the formula. It has to look like this to find all of your transformations. We labeled all of these last time. Just a reminder, when you have a plus minus in front, it won't ever be a plus. It will only be a minus. If it's a plus, it just won't say anything. That would mean a reflection in the x-axis. Reflection in the x-axis. If you have an a value, some number in front, that is a vertical stretch or shrink by a factor of a. If you have a minus sign inside of the function, that's going to be a reflection in the y-axis. The number inside of the function is going to be a horizontal stretch or shrink. And remember, we have to multiply by the reciprocal of b, which is 1 over b. And then inside, separated. This is the thing that I need to stress. Separated from the b value and separated from the reflection. Separated, you have your translate to the left or to the right. Translate. And translate. And remember, it goes opposite. And then finally, k. We've got a translate up or down. And that one is the same sign. Same stuff we've been doing. If the a value is greater than 1, so here, if this a value is greater than 1, what does that tell us? Greater than 1. What does that tell us? If it's greater than 1. Corey? Yes, that's what greater than 1 means, but what does that tell us about the stretch or shrink? Amar? It'll be a vertical shrink. No, it'll be a stretch. I just listened to you. No, that's not right, Amar. What will it be, Amar? It's going to be a stretch. If it's bigger than 1, it's going to make it bigger. Stretch. If the number is in between 0 and 1, so it's a fraction in between 0 and 1, like the number 1/3 or 1/2. If it's in between 0 and 1, what kind of vertical is that going to be? Shrink. Thank you for just yelling it out so we don't have to wait 10 hours. What if a is a negative number? What if a is a negative number? And if a is a negative number, yell it out. As a reflection in the x-axis. Good. If b is greater than 1, if b is greater than 1, so look where b is. What if b is greater than 1? Think about this. If it's greater than 1, what will I multiply by? Jacob?
Is it a horizontal shrink?
It is a shrink because I'll multiply by 1 over b. So horizontal shrink. And so if b is between 0 and 1, what are we going to have? If b is between 0 and 1, if b is like a half, what happens when we pull it out and do the reciprocal of a half? Sophie, what happens when I reciprocate the number 1/2? It's 2. Does that make the number bigger or smaller? That's a stretch, right? And what if b is negative? What if b is negative? Ryan, what if b is negative?
Reflection in the y-axis.
Perfect. Reflect in the y-axis. What if inside of the function we have x plus h? We have x plus h. Holland, what will an x plus a number tell us to do?
Go left or right.
Which one will plus tell me to do?
Left.
Correct. And I'm going to change your words from go to translate left. And then if we have minus h, Katsia, if we have minus h, what will that tell me to do? Perfect. Translate to the right. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
But-
For the B, I'm still confused on like the structure of the string.
Okay.
And the reciprocal.
So, like if b was 1/2 in the equation here, when I pull that out and I put it in my table and I go to multiply by the number, I'm not going to multiply by 1/2. I have to multiply by the reciprocal because that's horizontal, and we always do the opposite operation. So I'll multiply by 2, which makes numbers bigger. So anything horizontal is always opposite of what you think. If it's a smaller number on the inside, it's actually going to be a bigger number when it comes out.
So whatever number B is, B always like is it reciprocal?
Well, I mean, you're dividing by it, but instead of dividing by 1/2, I multiply by 2. So that's why we just jump that step and just say multiply by the reciprocal, because that's the opposite of dividing, or that means dividing. Okay, so if we have a plus k, Brooke, if we have a plus k, thank you, good job. And Gennaro, if we have a minus k, what will we do? Look right here. You're going to say the word translate. Can you say translate? Down. Perfect. Okay, anything. I'll keep that there. Anything outside of absolute value bars or parentheses indicate what kind of change. If it's on the outside, Jaden, if it's on the outside, what kind of change will that be? Okay, so look up here. Anything that's on the outside of the part I'm making dark. So this is the function where we have the squared. Anything on the outside will be what kind of change? Your options are horizontal or vertical. Correct. Vertical. And that will affect which values? Sierra, the vertical change affects which values? Your options are X or Y. It affects the Y values. Anything inside of the function or an absolute value bar, parentheses, anything on the inside. Emma. Horizontal change. And Brene, will that affect the X or the Y values? X values, right. And then this is just reminding you that the horizontal one does everything opposite. All right, good review. Now let's describe some transformations. So we have, for question G, for question A, g of x equals negative 1/2 x squared. So you notice the x squared, that's the function. Is the negative and is the half outside or inside everybody? Outside or inside? Wow, that was not everybody. Outside or inside? Very good. That felt good. All right. So that means everything that we do is going to be a vertical change. I'm going to make a table. And I'm going to leave us some space because I am going to write what the transformations are. But we're also going to graph it. And we're going to do these with tables. So remember the table is -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. And then my y's are 9, 4, 1, 0, 1, 4, 9. Every single time for squareds. For squareds, for quadratics. Go ahead and plot those points. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if you've been doing your assignments, those parent function points get plotted so quickly. You probably woke up in your sleep doing this. Because we've done it so many times, right? Did that happen to anybody? No? Okay. All right, Ariana, I would like you to pick either the negative sign or the 1/2, and I want you to tell me, well, which thing you picked and what that transformation is.
For the negative sign.
Okay.
Affects the y, so you can find all
Oh, not in the table. What is the actual transformation?
that. Oh, it reflects in the y, or the x-axis.
Perfect. Reflect in the x-axis. So that negative sign tells us reflect in the x-axis. And Nina, that means you get the half. What's the half do?
It's vertical.
So you're going to say vertical shrink, but you're going to say a little bit more.
Oh, by factor.
Thank you. By factor of 1/2. So then we will go to the y values, because these are both vertical transformations. We're going to go to the y values, and we're going to multiply by negative 1/2. So I'm going to multiply all my y's by negative 1/2. So we get negative 9/2, negative 2, negative 1/2, 0, negative 1/2, negative 2, negative 9/2. We get rid of the old y's. We graph the original x's with their new y values. So negative 9/2 is 4.5. Negative 3, 4.5. Negative 2, negative 2. Negative 1. Oh my gosh, I went the wrong way. Negative 9/2, not positive 9/2. There we go. Do we have questions? I'll go back up to my table. All I did for the graph was plot the points that were in the table. I made sure that the graph looks like a rounded U shape. It does not look like a V, because we're doing quadratics, we're doing squares, and those look like U's. Great. The next question. If you're ready to go on, we're going to need a table again. So create that table. Plot those parent function points. Okay. We are looking at question B. We've got our quadratic is the function. So anything that I just made pink is inside of the function. Jackson, you may choose either the 2 or the 1, but I want you to tell me what that transformation is, what I would write. And tell me which one you're choosing.
I'll choose the 1.
Okay?
So, and then on the outside of Y,
Oh, not down on the table, or just tell me like the words. But thank you, it is outside the Y.
reflection, wait, reflect,
Go back up and look if you forget.
is it horizontal?
So anything horizontal should be in pink right now. So it's vertical, but it's not a reflection. Look all the way at the top. Where is like adding a number at the end?
In the K?
Right. And what does the K tell us to do?
Add K to the Y button, go up.
We go up. Yes, we go up. So we're going to write the words and make sure we're writing these words every time, you guys, so that you remember them. Translate up 1 unit. Do you have a question?
I was just asking
For the 2? Okay, good. Emma. That's okay. I will help you through it if you don't know.
I didn't know if it'd be like recommendation right or left. We didn't have to
So then it is not a right or left. It's being multiplied. So if we're doing multiplication, that's the B value. So what is that 2 going to be? So when it comes out and I put it in the table, I'm not going to put a 2 in the table. It's going to be a shrink because we're going to, so let me write down, we're going to have a horizontal shrink by factor of, because in our table we're going to put 1/2. And that makes things smaller, so we call it a shrink. So going to the table, on the Y side, we will put a +1, adding 1. On the X side, we will multiply by 1/2. All right, so we're going to do that. So -3/2, -1, -1/2, 0, 1/2, 1, 3/2. And then we're going to add 1 to the Y, so 10, 5, 2, 1, 2, 5, 10. So at -3/2, which is -1.5, I've got 10. -1 is 5. -1/2 is 2, 0, 0. So that was a horizontal shrink, which means that this graph got closer to the y-axis. It is less horizontal. It's more vertical. It's a horizontal shrink, less horizontal. Goes more straight up. Okay? If you have everything but you're still graphing, all you're doing is plotting the points, so you don't need to look at my graph to plot points, you just need to look at your table. I'm going to go start making my table for the next one. All right, and I'm going to highlight again my function so that anything that is being squared is horizontal. Now, everything being squared, everything horizontal is covered in pink. So that really helps me figure out if it is a vertical or horizontal number. So I've got a 2, a -1, and a -4. Brooke, I would like you to pick 2, -1, or -4 and tell me about it.
The 2 would be a vertical stretch.
Okay, so you're going to say vertical stretch, but there's more to say.
By a factor of 2.
Thank you. By factor of 2. Hollins, I want you to pick either the -1 or the -4 and tell me about it.
-4 is going to be a translation down.
So translate down 4 units. And then I'm going to pick Evody. You get to help me with -1. Perfect. Translate right 1. So these two ladies over here are somewhat learning English language and learning math and can do it. There's no excuse for you guys. You did a great job. And I love hearing her accent, so it makes me happier. All right, so now we're going to make our table, and anything vertical is going to go on the y side. We've got 2 things vertical. Oh no, which one comes first? It is always by order of operations. So I'm going to have to multiply by 2, and I'm going to have to subtract 4. Order of operations, what do I have to do first, Tessa? Multiply by 2. If you do it wrong, you will get the wrong picture. You have to multiply before adding. Nope, not adding, subtracting, sorry. So 18, 8, 2, 0, 2, 8, 18, and then subtract 4. Then on the x side, we are just adding 1. Translating right, adding 1. Now, wherever the original vertex is, those points that line up, those are still going to be the vertex. They're just it's totally in a different place. Now it's at 1, -4. I will not use any of those center points. I'm just using the outside x's and the outside y's. So I'm graphing, well, -214 doesn't really fit on the graph. I'm not graphing that one. I'm graphing -1, 4, 0, -2, 1, -4, 2, -2, Oop, I graphed something in the wrong place. And 3, 4. Gosh. It's really hard for me to graph it if it's not down like paper on my computer here. If you guys are feeling the same way, you know you can make your computer into a tablet. Okay, so for these last 3, we're not going to actually take the time to graph them, but we are going to do writing the transformation, and we are going to make our table, and you're going to tell me what the vertex is. So I didn't really write down the vertex for these previous examples, but I'll go ahead and write them down now. We did that on our past assignment. Vertex is at 0, 0. Remember, if it's at 0, 0 to start, it'll still be in line with that 0, 0 when we're done. So this one's at 0, 1. Did I graph that wrong? Huh, I graphed the blue one wrong. Oopsies. Nobody told me that. Oops. I know it's my job, but sometimes I mess up. But so I'm going to use my mess up as a learning experience here. When I went back to write my vertex, I realized I didn't graph it right. And that's because I went back and looked at my table and said, oh, the vertex should be at 0, 1. And then this one, the vertex is at 1, negative 4. Remember, that vertex is that center point. So you guys are going to take some time. I'm going to pause the video. You're going to take some time. You're going to describe the transformations, and then you're going to make your table and say the vertex. You don't have to do the actual graphing. So overall, when I walked around, the people who were getting confused about, do I put it on the X or the Y in my table, you don't quite understand if it's horizontal or vertical. And that's why I was highlighting every single time those parentheses that have the squared on them. The parentheses that has the squared on it will tell you this stuff is horizontal. Everything that, oh, I'm sorry, I'm frozen, there we go. Everything that did not just get highlighted is vertical. Everything that got highlighted is horizontal, and we do the opposite of it. So that tells you where it goes in the table as well. The 1/3 is going to be horizontal. And right now, a lot of you have this done. Just make sure that your language matches my language. Don't leave parts off. Because if you know better than the teacher, you probably have a degree from college and then you wouldn't be taking this class, right? Right, okay. Horizontal, this is going to be a stretch by a factor of 1/3. No, just joking, not 1/3. Factor of 3, because we have to reciprocate it when it's horizontal. So then I multiply all my x's by 3. And then my vertex would be 0, 0. All right, my next one, the 3 on the outside is vertical. So vertical stretch by a factor of 3. And then that -1 on the inside is horizontal. It's subtracting, adding or subtracting is translate. And we do the opposite. So this says -1. I'm going to translate, instead of the minus direction, I'm going to add. So translate to the right 1 unit. Something's going on with my computer. It's slow. So my table, I'm going to multiply by 3, and I'm going to add 1. I'm going to pause my video for 1 second, see if I can fix my computer. Okay, so then I look across where my vertex normally is. Now my vertex is, I don't know what's going on with my computer, guys. Sorry, it's writing really bad. 1, 0. Okay, and the last one, the negative sign on the outside is a reflect. In the x-axis, the +3 is translate 3 units left and 2 units up. So the 2's not highlighted, so it's vertical. The negative sign is not highlighted, so it is a up and down reflection. And then the +3 is highlighted, so we do the opposite. We do -3 on the x side. So since we do have a negative sign, that is the exact same thing as multiplying by -1. And then we add 2. Oh no, I didn't add 2. For my vertex over here. There we go. So my vertex is -3, 2. I'm going to have to write it above it because I ran out of space. Did I? Yeah, I ran out of space. So my vertex is at -3, oh my gosh, -3, 2. And you guys do see the numbers 3 and 2 in the equation. Like you'll always be able to see the vertex looking in the equation if you know where to look. And that's what like our next lesson does anyway. All right, so that's it for this lesson. You guys have a worksheet.